Windsor-Tecumseh at Queen's Park. It was a big story when he took the riding for the Conservatives in 2022, something that hadn't happened since 1955. Now, last night, Dowie was re-elected, taking 48% of the vote. And this morning, he's here in our studio. Thanks for coming in.
Well, it's my pleasure, Amy. Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very happy, relieved that the voters sort of rendered their verdict, if you will. But I'm just so grateful to the people of Windsor-Tecumseh for supporting me once again and for making me their voice to represent them at Queen's Park with positivity and collaboration. And that's always been my motto, and I think it's served our community well, and I look forward to continuing to do that.
So it's the second time you've gone up against Gemma Gray Hall of the NDP. This time you won by 7,500 votes compared to 6,000 last time. So I'm wondering what you think that says about how voters in your riding are feeling as they went to the ballot boxes.
Well, I believe the voters of Windsor-Tecumseh were worried about what's happening in our economy. We had the threat of tariffs. We had, we've struggles in manufacturing with contracts being lost, and now that uncertainty and risk that we don't know what we'll be able to ship, and will it be profitable for a company to invest in local contracts if they're buying products from us. And so that uncertainty is something that's very damaging to our local economy. So the people of the community, I believe they were looking for the leadership that they knew would be able to respond well back to those that needed to be influenced in the United States about the trade decisions that they're making. And Doug Ford stood out as the only one who would likely be invited to the table or listened to.
You've always been really open to doing interviews. We appreciate that. From the time you were Tecumseh Town Councillor and your first term as MPP, you talked to our reporter the morning Doug Ford was in Amherstburg, was at the Ambassador Bridge, rather, to call the election months ago. But then you were not able to speak again until the polls closed. What happened?
At the end of the day, you have only a limited amount of daylight hours in which to reach people. My first election, I was able to reach 28,000 of the 40,000 houses in the riding. My goal was to get to all 40,000 this campaign, but with a 28-day duration and 3 hours less per day, that just wasn't feasible. But door knocking is the only way an elected official can really hear from the community unfiltered. And so I decided I needed to concentrate every day to go door knocking. So I was able to get to about 18,000 of those doors, 10,000 less than last time. But given I had about 18 months to do those 28,000, doing the 18 in a month, I felt was successful. But there's no way I would have been able to do that without being focused on it and concentrating on listening to people at their doors.
We know that's the message that Doug Ford gave, and that's sort of his mandate for you as the candidates. But you personally, did you miss doing the debates and being able to sort of have a bigger stage to get your message out?
Well, you know what? In some ways, you just have to look at what's the value. I'm an engineer, right? So I look at the most efficient way of achieving my goal. And in this case, the best way I could reach my goal of knocking on the most doors possible was to do that and do only that. I will have opportunity to debate the other parties every single day in the legislature on returning. Those that want to see those debates and see what my responses are, they're streamed and archived. And even if you want to see the ones that I do, they're enhanced as well. So I will have an opportunity to debate for sure, but I will invite all residents, all constituents to give me a call. If they have any questions, please give me a call. I will return your call. It may be late at night. I'll warn that because the legislature sits till about 7. So, but I have called people back at 9 at night, and my phone number at the office is 519-251-5199.
Now, after your first election, you came in as a rookie, perhaps a bit naive maybe of what Queen's Park would demand on your time and your family. How is this time different? Can you prepare different? Do you feel you're going in a bit more experienced?
Oh, absolutely. The last 2.5 years has been definitely a learning experience. I've learned about I'll call it the dominance of the GTA in terms of how the province runs. And so when you were absent from the conversation, as our region had been, it meant that we just weren't thought of. And that doesn't mean there was any sort of targeting. It meant that just honestly your voice not being there as part of the conversation for priorities meant that your priorities weren't heard. heard. So now I've made a number of relationships. Work great with Anthony Liardi and Trevor Jones. So we represent Windsor and Essex County in the Government Caucus. It's been such a privilege to serve with them, and it's meant that the projects that are important to us get noticed, to get highlighted. And I couldn't ask for a better champion than Doug Ford for our region. Sometimes he beats me to the punch. He loves people of our community. He reinforces that with us over and over again. And so he makes my job easier than maybe it could have been because he already has an awareness of this community. He loves this community. And Doug Ford is someone who relates to this community. He understands our sector, particularly our role in the auto sector and manufacturing and its importance. And he wants to keep it going every step of the way.
It's been a long time since we've had somebody here with a cabinet portfolio. Do you have aspirations to take over a portfolio?
Well, Trevor Jones did sit in the cabinet prior to the election, and so we have had a strong voice for the area. You know what? I'm so delighted to serve as the MPP for Windsor-Tecumseh. I've been given some very fascinating parliamentary assistant roles, and certainly I'd be willing to serve in any capacity that the Premier would like me to. But my roles that I've had have been incredibly rewarding. I've served in the economic development, job creation, and trade portfolio, as well as the environment, conservation, and parks. Two very different portfolios, but has given me a great awareness of the world that's out there, and everything that adds to my knowledge base can only make me a better representative. I can assure everyone out there that Windsor's voice is always part of the conversation, no matter what title is assigned to our local MPPs.
Do you want to be in cabinet?
You know what? I don't think you'll get a no answer from anyone who gets asked. So I'll leave it there. There's only so much room in a cabinet, and it's a great honor to be asked. But we have great cabinet ministers, and there has to be a limit to how many are in that cabinet.
What's your top priorities?
Certainly, my top priority remains what Doug Ford's priority is resolving this trade issue with the United States. Our economy is dependent on it. We have so much uncertainty and risk that's been introduced because of what's happening, and that uncertainty is very damaging to local industry. It means lost contracts. It means layoffs, and that is something we need to stop. We need people working in our community, and so that's why I'm very excited about protecting Ontario, our platform, to reinvest in the community, keep people working, keep on building, finding trade opportunities that may not be established today. And I will never forget, we need to accelerate the hospital as much as possible. We were able to get it accelerated by a year shortly after our election. I know other candidates in this election have talked a good game, but ultimately those parties ran candidates that didn't support the hospital in past elections. So only Doug Ford stood up for the hospital, and we're going to see it through. No problem at all.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much, Andrew, for coming in this morning. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.